Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into operations management. Now, many might think of it simply as, getting stuff made and shipped on time.
Right, the basic flow.
Exactly. But that view is, well, it's really missing the picture now. The field's undergoing this dramatic transformation.
It truly is.
So our deep dive today is all about these emerging trends in operations management. We want to show you just how much things are evolving.
Precisely. And we've based this on some really insightful excerpts from a paper, Emerging Trends in Operations Management. Our goal here is kind of to give you a shortcut.
A shortcut, yeah, to the core ideas.
Right, extracting the most important bits so you can quickly get what's happening and, crucially, why it actually matters in the real world.
Okay, so let's maybe kick things off with a big question. How is all this digital intervention, everything from AI to, smart factories, how is it fundamentally changing this core business function?
Yeah, that's the perfect place to start because the OM sector is, it's right in the middle of a huge digital revolution. We're seeing companies really embrace these new technologies.
Like what specifically?
Well, things like artificial intelligence, AI for smarter forecasting and optimization, machine learning, ML, for digging into massive data sets to find subtle patterns.
Okay.
Then there's the Internet of Things, IoT, for watching assets in real time, and even blockchain for creating these secure, transparent records, especially in supply chains.
So it's a whole suite of tools.
Exactly. Each has its own power, but it's when they start working together, converging, that you see this huge boost in efficiency and, frankly, just better decision making.
It sounds like it's not just about doing things faster, but maybe easier and more cost effectively too.
Definitely. Automation plays a huge role there.
Mm.
And you mentioned data. The amount of data these systems generate is just staggering, a real goldmine.
Right. I guess, in the past, operations probably rely a lot more on experienced managers just having a feel for things, their gut instinct, rather than hard data.
Right.
Is that changing?
That's a very fair way to put it. The shift is significant. Operations managers now have these powerful analytical tools, predictive modeling techniques. They're not just reacting anymore.
They're looking ahead.
Exactly. Interpreting the data, finding patterns, forecasting demand much more accurately so you can optimize inventory, make the supply chain more efficient, even catch quality issues, deviations before they become big problems.
So it's moving away from just fixing things when they break.
Right. Towards proactive predictive control. Mastery, even.
Predictive mastery. I like that. So when we talk specific applications, IoT and Industry 4.0 always seem to come up. How do they fit in?
Okay, so IoT is a real game changer for monitoring. Think real-time tracking of equipment, predicting maintenance before a breakdown happens, huge for uptime, and it gives much better visibility across the whole supply chain.
Okay, visibility is key there.
Definitely. And Industry 4.0, you can think of it as the fourth industrial revolution. It's about these cyber-physical systems.
Cyber-physical, what does that mean in practice?
It basically means connecting the physical world of machines and processes with computing and networks. Think smart factories where machines talk to each other, adjust processes automatically. It brings way more transparency and accuracy to production, the supply chain, even how people interact with the machines.
That sounds incredibly efficient. But of course, when you talk automation and AI, the elephant in the room is always jobs, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean for the workforce?
Yeah, that's always the immediate question. And it's true. Our source does point out that automation and AI can, double production speed sometimes and automate tasks that people used to do, achieving near zero error rates in certain areas, enhancing inventory, supply chain quality with less direct human input.
Which sounds a bit scary for some roles.
It can, and it's a critical point. While some specific job tasks might be reduced or changed significantly, operations management as a field and the need for skilled people will remain in high demand.
Why is that?
Because human minds are still essential. Machines are great at routine tasks and spotting known patterns, but they can miss major unexpected production errors, complex, novel issues. You still need people for that critical thinking, the complex problem solving, the strategic oversight.
So the technology isn't replacing the managers, it's changing what they focus on.
Precisely. It's fascinating how these different pieces, AI, IoT, analytics, are coming together to create this genuinely smart operating environment. Data is king, automation is the engine, but human intelligence is still steering the ship.
That really clarifies the shift. Okay, so we've talked digital. Now, thinking about the last few years, well, COVID-19 obviously put a massive spotlight on adaptability, didn't it?
Absolutely. Unavoidably so.
Which brings us neatly to our second major area, building operations that are not just efficient, but also agile and resilient.
Yes, supply chain management became, let's say, intensely focused after the pandemic disruptions. Everyone realized the need for supply chains that are much more agile, more responsive.
Able to pivot quickly.
Exactly. Adapt to sudden market shifts, changing customer demands. So companies are now planning inventory much more carefully, basing it directly on demand forecasts to cut down on holding costs, waste.
And technology helps there too. You mentioned blockchain earlier.
Right. Blockchain is being used more to create these secure, shared records of transactions and shipments. That builds incredible trust and transparency along the chain, cuts down disputes, makes logistics more cost-effective.
Okay, so agility and transparency are key. Now, two methodologies often come up here, lean and agile. Many people know lean.
Yes, lean, famously from Toyota. Its core is relentlessly cutting out waste, optimizing every step. Very powerful.
But agile is maybe newer in this context.
It is, relatively. Agile methodology emphasizes quick adaptation, working in shorter cycles, iterative development, and importantly, cross-functional collaboration. It's less about just pure efficiency and more about adaptive efficiency in a market that's always changing.
Adaptive efficiency. Okay.
Yeah.
So how does Agile actually deliver that flexibility? The source mentioned breaking down tasks.
Right. By breaking big, complex tasks into smaller, manageable parts, Agile makes the work less overwhelming, reduces errors, and helps teams tackle hurdles faster. It also keeps people more engaged.
How so?
By giving them clear, achievable goals, often daily challenges, fostering a sense of progress and ownership. Plus, a huge advantage is using those cross-functional teams you mentioned.
Bringing people from different departments together.
Exactly. Marketing, engineering, operations, finance, whatever's needed. They come together to tackle specific problems quickly. You get diverse perspectives, different ways of seeing the issue, which leads to more creative solutions.
That makes a lot of sense. Different angles on a problem.
And critically, Agile operations rely heavily on data analytics, real-time customer feedback, market trends. Decisions aren't made in a vacuum. They're data-driven to ensure the adaptations are actually effective.
That combination of collaboration and data sounds incredibly powerful. And speaking of tackling challenges, you mentioned the pandemic.
Yeah.
It really drove home the need for solid risk management, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was a stark lesson. Operations managers are now far more focused on systematically assessing potential risks, mitigating them proactively.
What does that look like in practice?
Things like diversifying supply chains, not relying on a single source or region, developing really robust contingency plans, thinking what if much more seriously to handle future disruptions, whatever they might be.
So if you connect those dots,
Yeah.
the optimized supply chains, the agile methods, the risk management, it really paints a picture of businesses trying to become, well, tougher.
Exactly. Not just lean, but robust, resilient, able to withstand shocks and adapt. It's about building that resilience right into the core of how the organization operates.
That definitely feels like a fundamental shift. Okay, so we've covered digital transformation and building resilience. There's one more major trend emerging, something maybe broader hitting businesses everywhere.
You mean the ethical and sustainable imperative?
Precisely. It feels like companies are under more pressure than ever to be, responsible citizens.
It's a monumental shift, really. You have growing global concern about environmental issues pushing companies hard towards what's called green operations management.
Green operations, what does that involve?
Concrete actions. Things like actively reducing waste, cutting energy consumption, lowering carbon emissions. It also includes promoting ethical sourcing of materials, ensuring socially responsible practices throughout their operations.
And maybe even sourcing locally.
Yes, encouraging locally sourced raw materials is part of it too, boosting the national or regional economy, shortening supply lines.
It feels like this isn't just about, say, meeting regulations anymore, though. It seems to impact how people see the company.
Absolutely. A company's reputation is now heavily tied to its sustainability efforts and its broader corporate social responsibility, or CSR, practices.
So consumers are demanding it.
Increasingly, yes. Companies that genuinely commit to sustainability and can demonstrate it are often preferred. But what's really interesting is the shift in talent.
How so?
Employees, especially younger generations, are actively prioritizing working for companies with strong CSR records. It's becoming a major factor in attracting and, crucially, retaining good people long term. It's not just marketing fluff. It impacts your workforce, your bottom line.
So it's a core business strategy now, not just a nice to have. How does this actually filter down into day-to-day operations management? Can you give some specific examples?
Sure, in supply chain, for instance, it means actively choosing suppliers with good environmental records, optimizing transport routes to cut fuel consumption and emissions.
Makes sense.
Within the facilities, it's about improving energy efficiency, smart lighting, better insulation, maybe integrating renewable energy sources. We're also seeing a growing focus on circular economy principles.
Circular economy.
Right.
Designing out waste.
Exactly. Designing products so they can be easily taken apart, and the components reused or recycled back into the production process, minimizing waste right from the start. So these environmental and social concerns, they aren't add-ons anymore. They're becoming fundamental, integrated parts of modern OM. They shape decisions, attract talent, define the brand.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To recap our deep dive today, we've seen operations management is way beyond just making things. It's fundamentally about sustainability, CSR, agile methods, cross-functional teams, data analytics, so much more.
Yeah, and these are just abstract ideas or buzzwords. They're actively shaping a future that's hopefully more efficient, more responsible, both economically and environmentally. It's changing how businesses function globally.
And for you, listening in, maybe you're a student, thinking about the future economy, or maybe you're already in business, being aware of these shifts in operations is, well, it's vital.
It really is.
Staying current with these emerging trends is pretty much the only way to navigate effectively, to make good decisions within any organization today.
Absolutely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As operations keep evolving, integrating ever more deeply with technology, with global concerns like sustainability, what new skills will you need to develop personally to really thrive in this increasingly automated, interconnected, and responsible world?